If you're wondering where all these beautiful basing elements came from and why this looks so natural, apart from Pappy, he looks horribly unnatural, it is a product that we are working on and we've been working on for a while. Some of you may have seen other people on YouTube with one of these special boxes. It is a gorgeous box, by the way. It's insanely beautiful. It's like wooden obsidian. Mine's been through the wars. This has actually been to several continents. This is the Cube Hobby Vault, something that we've been working on for quite a while. So let me show you some things about it. Number one, that is a tight fit. This is a beautifully made and engineered thing. Take the lid off though. So the idea with Cube is that we wanted to introduce people to the idea of scenic narrative basing that tells a story and, you know, really sets your guys, your dudes, whatever they are, whether it's Pup and Nurgle or, you know, some elves or whatever, in a world, in an environment, and in a, you know, a tale that you can tell yourself. So we wanted to provide people with everything they would need in a single box, you know, Lego, basically. If you can imagine it, you can build it. Gorgeous ferns. And to imagine yourself a complete environment, a world, a story for your miniatures, and play around until you're happy with it. We've got ferns, we've got mushrooms of a couple of varieties, and then we've got a load of other stuff. And if you're wondering what I'm using on my basing, it is this. So if you are interested in this, or if you've got any suggestions or what you'd like to see in, you know, a perfect world in a box basing kit, please do let us know. And I'll also put a link below in the description for you to be able to subscribe for notifications about the campaign when it goes live, which will be in some time because we're still working on it. We really want to present people with a complete world in a box in a way that is less intimidating than anyone's ever found it before. So that's the idea behind the product. This wasn't meant to be a product video. Basing is something I'm extremely passionate about though, and it's going to be the subject of this video while I try and, you know, level up my army. I've got some good looking bases here, but the moment you put those on them, they're fantastic looking bases. So we're really going to be bringing these to life in a few steps. And this is an army I'm doing for myself. You know, I'm not doing this for advertising purposes. I've got a couple of days, unfortunately, to get this army ready. So let's just rock on and make the prettiest bases we can possibly imagine. Okay, let's talk basing. I love basing. Everyone knows I love basing. Everyone who's not new to the channel. If you are new to the channel, I love basing a lot. It's one of my favorite things. And I believe genuinely it's one of the nicest things about producing an army. Number one, you get a break from proper painting and proper building. You can do something completely creative, really forgiving. Like, it's really hard to cock up a base in a way that can't be fixed or hidden with a tuft. We love tufts, more on that later. Anyway, let's have a little unscheduled, definitely not very systematic breakdown of what I feel about what makes good basing over an army. Number one, we're basing an entire army. We've got loads of space to tell a story. Poor people doing, you know, individual figures or whatever, you know, they can put a load of time into it. Let's put some pictures of Andy Wardle's gorgeous stuff on screen right now. And we'll get up Will Hahn as well. He does some lovely stuff. Dribble away. They're gorgeous. Oh, some of them are so nice. My God, there's some talented people out there. Anyway, they have to tell a story on a single base. We do not. We get loads of bases. So we're doing an army here. I mean, you can do this on a single base and it'll definitely help you, but we've got an army. We've got great big fatties, literally. We got tiny dudes on little bases, and we've got everything in between. If some of your guys don't have feet on their base and they're flying, you have tons of space on there. So what are we going to do there and how are we going to make it look nice? Number one, stop trying to imagine stuff. Do use your imagination, but if in doubt, just go and Google some pictures of nature. Like Google like forest floors. That's what I'm doing here. So we'll talk about forest floors. Google forest floors. Google mushrooms. Google mushrooms on tree stumps. Like, there's just a plethora of incredible nature photography out there. Go and have a look. Don't try and remember how it looks because you will do a bad job. Have a look at how, if there's some slate and there's some earth under it, like how that falls, if you get like natural nooks and crannies appearing. Then let's think about a couple of other things. So what do plants need? They need shelter, but they also need light. So they tend to grow in sheltered areas where they're protected, but with access to light. Or if they don't have access to light, they're a different type of plant. They're mushrooms, they are moss, they are whatever. If they're flowers, they're more out in the open. Think about this type of stuff. If you have, if you're doing a desert, then everything's going to go more towards the shade where it is cooler. not only for physical shelter, you know, to stop rain from landing on it to wash it away, but it's going to be the coolest there. It's going to possibly be the dampest, which is what they need. And then the plants that are out in the open, they're probably going to be, again, different types, aloe vera or succulents or whatever. They're, you know, the ones that really cactus, the ones that really hold on to water, they can be wherever they like. The other more normal plants, they're going to have to seek out the shelter in a desert environment. So these are all things that I bear in mind. Think how earth flows down. So, you know, if a tree's fallen over and it's fallen right into the ground or it's at an angle, you're going to get these sheltered areas here, and it will have pushed the earth up as it falls over. And then here is a load of fresh earth that's been pushed up, which is going to be full of nutrients and whatever, and is sheltered, and stuff's going to start growing there. All these things are things that you should bear in mind when you're making your base. Now, that's all stuff to do with nature. If you bring in like human beings or races or wars or paths or anything, you're going to have to think about some different things. We're putting these guys in a natural environment. So all I'm bearing in mind are like fallen logs, nature, you know, stuff coming out of recesses. We're going to be using the wonderful mushrooms and the ferns. And that brings me on to the next thing. Let's talk about plants. When designing cubes, something that we're really keen on is reverently following science in nature. If you see mushrooms, like loads of mushrooms in one place in a forest, the chances are there's not more than 2 types of mushrooms there. It's just going to be one lot. Normally, you know, big, small, young, old, dying, dead, just growing, whatever it is, they're going to be absolutely everywhere in every state, in every size. So that's what we held in mind for cube, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not just going to put like one here that's, you know, like a pointy mushroom, and then a flat top mushroom here, and then, you know, like a one that grows on a tree there. I'm going to put down like a great big one of this type, and then maybe some smaller ones around it, trying to think how stuff would be in nature. Anyway, yeah, that's my very unscheduled, quite long, hopefully not too waffly. It's not even a rant, is it? It's just me being passionate. I like basing. Basing's awesome. If you're out in nature, take a picture, or if you see something cool, even if it's like a rusty lorry, don't be afraid to take pictures, put them in a specific folder, and next time you're wondering about paint inspiration or where NMM reflections are or whatever, you can go to that picture of a door handle. I actually do that. Picture of a door handle or a mossy tree stump or whatever. We have a base here. Let's try and spice it up. Got a cube. That's good sound. Take out a box. Grab ourselves some mushrooms, some ferns, baby ferns, got some baby mushrooms, and some not so baby mushrooms. Let's pop down a little bit green stuff under here, pop down another under the other side. Okay, no longer annoying. So what I'm going to aim for this is to just fade out a little rise there. Doesn't have to be super precise or perfect at all. And then what we get from that is a nice little natural socket. Whoa, look at that. That little tiny angle at the bottom just makes everything so much more realistic. So let's get a proper patch to them. And then secret weapon time. Strip of sanding sponge. Really speeds it up and it helps you keep shapes organic as well. Can't see a seal line on a stalk. Sand it just in case. Right, so I guess yeah. You'll say we test how that looks. Looks bloody great, so that'll do. Unless I can keep the shape. Test it here. Nah, more personality in the other section, for sure. Nice. Slightly weird angle. Hopefully you guys see what I mean about being a bit more mushroomy like that. Let's do a couple of ferns. Obviously these are delicate pieces because they're tiny. Little balloon knot there. I probably want this coming out from under shelter. I think I'll pop a little blob of green stuff at the end there, and the ferns can be coming out of a different section. And the aim is to have it underneath that log or building up to it naturally. Take a little tiddy bit. Look at that. So different, right? Look at it just creeping out. That's an organic shape. And let's get a little cluster of them, even if they are small. Here we go. Teeny tiny cluster. Probably didn't need to do that, but just to make sure. I'm going to have to chop off, maybe don't have to chop off any of this. It's got that little tail back, but that should just help socket it in. Now, if anything, visually, I want to suggest that this one is sheltering the other. So, kind of a bit underneath and to the side. There we go. That's badass, isn't it? Just makes such a big difference. One more mushroom. There's always room for one more mushroom, I think. Awesome. Look at that. I'm going to actually put one more in here because that's fairly obviously a man-made cut. I don't want that showing up on the final thing. Get one of different height, style. There's particularly wiggly pair of them there. Getting a bit more tricky now, but... Oh, yes! Look at that. So good, just like kind of blooming out from under it. I think I'm just going to go full on with this log. Why not? So in nature, you often get, when one thing dies, you know, from the ashes, other stuff rises. So it makes sense, I guess, that this old tree is providing shelter and nutrients for these that are growing. So what do we want? Like some more kind of coming around the sides, I guess. We want one more triple cluster or quadruple, a big cluster. I don't want any of the huge ones yet. It is huge. That's the same as that, so we won't repeat it so close to it. Give this double. Damn you, sausage fingers. Maybe... That makes me feel like we could get rid of these ones, so waste not, want not. Obviously, I'm deliberating about this forever because I just love playing around with basing, but you can slap these down much more casually and they're still going to work out really nicely. Having said that, you know, how cool does this look? That one's got too long a lead out to work in there. Maybe we'll just smooth it out and go like that. Still looks pretty green, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe less is more here. Anyway, that's it. Mushrooms are plenty. Maybe I could have got a fern over there, them growing in the shelter of the fern or something. It's all about telling a story, but I'm okay with that. I think that looks really cool. Kind of heavy on one side of the base, but again, it's nature. Do what you want. All right, it's late. I'm very tired. We made some progress, not as much as I would like, so I'm gonna have to think really carefully tomorrow and Friday about how I go about this army, because I don't have the entirety of either of those days available to me. The bases are looking great, like really good. I'm very, very pleased with, you know, they all look really high quality, the ones that have been done so far, but the Plague Bearer ones haven't been done. A couple of Gribbly ones, we've got like a third of the Great Unclean one done, and we're missing one of the beasts. It's basically the drones that are done, and 2 beasts. So yeah, it's what it is. I'm gonna go to bed. We'll make some progress tomorrow. At least they're looking great. That's kind of nice, I guess. Let's do a little bit of whiteboard action before bed to cheer me up. I almost fell into the camera there. I'm so tired. Right, Great Unclean one. Let's say he is, you know, he's more far along. Epidemus is more far along. Sloppy Biopiper is. Scrivener. Lord of the Fictions is done. That's nice. This is some progress. 20 Plague Bearers are here. 10 are here. 2 finished beasts. Slightly finished beast. Finished drones. I think this feels nice, at least feels helpful, productive. Tree. Oh god, probably need to send their bases. I'll leave those. Some progress. Slightly better than none. We'll check in tomorrow. Fingers crossed.